Hey, welcome back to the channel, fellow Ristopians. Stay cool. Welcome back to Ristopia. And here we have from yesterday's video, the Amiga Seamaster Professional 6,000 meter Ultradeep, to give it its full name. As I said, this is the blue-black fade version, the standard version, I would call this. I think it's, it has has some nice color on it, or a small amount of color on it, but it looks quite standard and wearable. It's not, doing any flashiness, particularly in terms of color. There are other colors available on the braceleted version, as this is. So you've got a white dial with an electric blue bezel that I mentioned yesterday, and there's a brown dial with a bright orange bezel. That is also available. I think that's a lot. You've really got to like, best part of £12,000 if you pay list, which I wouldn't recommend that you do if you're going to get one. Ask me in the comments below if you think if you want to know what I think you should be paying for one of these if you were going to trot along and get one. But yeah, it's a lot of money to pay for a blingy colorway. You've really got to like those colors. They're very much a statement piece. I'm not that. I would always want the kind of standard version first. If I had 24 grand and I liked it enough, then maybe I'd buy two. But I'd get the white dial with the electric blue bezel if I did. But yeah, this does have the Seamaster text in electric blue, the Ultradeep text in electric blue, and electric blue there on the tip of the second hand. But yeah, so I wanted to cover, I was also in Omega steel. That's one thing I didn't say yesterday as well. So it's a proprietary steel from Omega. You say Amiga, I say Omega. Yeah, it's meant to be, I think it's meant to be shinier. It's a special steel, but I think for me it's just a lovely big chunky watch that's actually quite plain, and but I covered, I think, most stuff yesterday about that, so I'm not going to go over that again. But yeah, so over here we have a box. It's a watch box. Can you guess what watch is in the box today?
It's Mr. Dagenham the salesman.
No, it's not Mr. Dagenham the salesman. It's the Amiga Seamaster Professional 600 meter Planet Ocean that I didn't have on the channel yesterday. And it's inside, my little embellishment of the day is the Amiga Travel Box, which is now inside. If you buy a standard Amiga with the brown wooden box, this is actually what you get inside. I haven't got a box here. I've done what I did yesterday. Should have had a box here, shouldn't I? But in the wooden box, it used to be lacquered, gloss lacquered, shiny wood. Very nice box. And inside, when you opened it up, it basically looked like, this is quite difficult to do with gloves on, so it basically looked like that in the middle with a surround around it, a creamy sort of surround. It looked exactly like that, except it was just storage compartments. Whereas now the box is matte. So it used to be shiny lacquered wood with a shiny chrome looking Amiga logo. Now it's matte wood with a matte, a brush steel looking, polished, I should have said, shouldn't I? Polished Amiga logo. Now it's matte wood with a brushed silver Amiga logo. And when you open it up, it looks exactly the same, except you can now take this out and it turns into a Campbell Wick green, travel box thing. I think a lot of people, it's really handy. I've got to be honest, that is a really handy compact little box, and it does fit you know, it fits the Ultradeep in. So it is a handy thing. But whether you want to spoil your Amiga box or put your watch travel box, put your watch in a different travel case and keep this all pristine inside the wooden box in your loft, is up to you. But it is a nice little touch. I actually prefer the older, the gloss wood with the polished silver Amiga logo box. But yeah, I'm lucky enough to have two now. So yeah, I've got kind of both. So I'm winner chicken dinner. So yeah, as I say, we've got the Amiga Ultradeep. I've got my just a wrist shot. I've got my Invicta Pro Diver on today, just because it was lying around, and I'm doing some DIY. I've got a nasty scratch on it there, both across the crystal, the kind of mineral crystal or acrylic, whatever it is, and the bezel. But don't remember doing that. I would have thought some damage that big I would have remembered doing, but I don't. But yeah, that's another story. That's another story for another day. So yeah, the 600 meter, and let's put them in the correct order: the 600 meter and the 6,000 meter Planet Ocean. Kind of as blue. I prefer the blue. Much prefer the blue. I like blue and silver watches. And I think blue goes really well with orange, and you know, it's quite a seafaring look. This, as I've mentioned before, is all round my favorite watch. When you take everything into consideration, I think this is my favorite watch. I'm not saying it's the best one in the world or that I own, but I think it's my favorite. I just like the size, the fit, the look, the dimensions. I like the fact that it's got a helium escape valve, even though I'm not really a fan, I think I said yesterday, of it on the 300 meter because of the shape, but on the 600 meter, it kind of adds to the chunkiness of it. I like the fact that it's quite a plain looking Amiga. It was actually it was Adrian from Bark and Jack that put me onto this model in a video he did, and I pretty much went out, searched it, like, you know, checked it out online, went to a shop, looked at it and bought it, and I absolutely love it. It is a bit heavy for daily wear, you know. I think that's one of the things of having multiple watches, is that you can wear a watch. So all of these things that people whinge about in the comments, oh, it's too heavy, it's too big, you know, if you're wearing it every day, yeah, you know, but if you're not wearing it every day, then yeah, those things just don't matter. You know, one thing I say on this channel, you know, we're looking for the perfect beat. You're not going to find it, but if you have multiple watches, if you have like 3 or whatever more, 2, 3 or more, then, you know, potentially you are actually getting the perfect beat, the perfect watch within your collection. You've got all the things you want. Some of the things you don't want, but, you know, I quite like, I think, you know, things like date windows, they're not my cup of tea really, but it's much nicer when it's, you know, color coded, so it doesn't look as, you know, it doesn't stand out as much. Some people would say that the date window on the Planet Ocean 600 would be better if it was white, so it matched that white indice over there. But then again, you've got one there, haven't you, already? But yeah, I think a date window is something. ID Guy did a good video on date windows and basically came up with that there isn't a good place to put one. I added to that I think a good place to put a date window would be on the exhibition case back. If you really wanted to know the date, take your watch off and have a look. You know, if you really need it that much, it's there if you want it. Someone else famously once said, and I'm trying to think who this was, I think it was Brendan Boswell, is it? A small little YouTuber, but check him out. He's really good. He said, you know, he doesn't want to see the date every time he looks at his watch. He wants to only see the date when he's looking for it. And I thought that was a brilliant thing to say, a brilliant, you know, anecdote. But yeah, watches need to be roughly right, I think. But, you know, it doesn't matter if there's things on there you don't particularly like, as long as they don't go too crazy. The thing I like about the Planet Ocean range is that they are quite plain compared to Amigas. There's scalloping on the case back, but, you know, I don't really look at that, so I don't care. It's not on the bezel like it is on the 300. The helium escape valve is parallel, so it just matches the chunkiness of it and the plainness of it. whereas it's cupcake shaped on the 300, which, you know, along with all the fussiness on the bracelet and the just fussiness, you know, the wavy dial and the skeleton hands. I mean, it's just too much for me. It's just not my my thing. But if you like that, then great. But yeah, so we got these two side by side. As I said yesterday, you know, I really would be nice having four. I think, what was that mistake I said yesterday? Oh, I said that the summer blue version of this was black and blue. It's actually not. It's blue and light blue, but it's still only two colours. Whereas this one has more colours going on, and it has the precious metals that I mentioned. So I think it looks better. It's better value, and it doesn't have the on the summer blue version. It has that kind of, if you shine a UV light on it, it shows you some weird graffiti on the dial, which is I just don't like. I wouldn't like it being there. I do like the texture of the dial. And I do actually like the colours, but I just prefer this colour in the Ultradeep. There is a Planet Ocean Summer Blue, but it's not 43.5 millimeters as this one is. It's the smaller size that doesn't get mentioned much. I think it's 39.5, the smaller one, which would be too small. But I think if they had made the Planet Ocean Summer Blue in this size, the 43.5, that would easily be my favourite, and I probably would want one, to be honest. But yeah, none of the other summer blues appeal, and the fact that it's 39.5 is just too small for me. So you know, and it changes the dimensions, and the dimensions are what I kind of like about this. Now, I did feel when I first got it that the bezel track was too small. And I suppose that still is a niggle. It's an imperfection as well as the date window for me. But other than that, I think it's pretty much there. The 6,000 meter, on the other hand, has a very bulbous looking dimension with a very thick bezel track and a smaller dial. I mean, you can see that the dial, although this is so what's this, 45 millimeters. Another thing I didn't say, this is actually smaller than the, I think this is 45.5 actually, I can't remember. But it's actually smaller than the Planet Ocean 600 meter chronograph. So if you put this next to a Planet Ocean 600 meter chronograph, this is actually smaller. I think in all dimensions, not much, but so if, you know, people look at this as a fairly huge watch, which it is. Even Amiga fans call it a brick, which is rude and ironic, because the one that did it owns this exact watch, and a lot of people would call this a brick because it's too big for them. But where was I? So the yeah, this is smaller than the chronograph, the 600 meter chronograph. You know, it is quite, it's wearable for my wrist size, and I do actually love it. So let's have a look at some side on. So the bracelet is pretty much the same side on. Nice big, actually it's got smaller, it's equally chunky, I would say. And the bracelet on these, or on this, is why I really love it. Another thing I didn't mention yesterday, I did mention the chunky links. You know, there's lovely oval side profiles in those, in that lovely steel, Omega steel, in the case of the Ultradeep. But what I didn't mention yesterday, it has, and in fact, looking at it, the Ultradeep doesn't have it. The Planet Ocean 600 meters has a kind of curvature. So obviously when it's on your wrist, you can see that curvature. And I think, I call it, to me, it reminds me of Ninja Turtles, but it's a bit like turtle shell. But yeah, so it's got that look, which I think is great. It's got a lovely side view and a lovely, you know, front view. You know, a standard oyster style bracelet. Is female end link on this watch, which surprised me. I did a video about end links a while back, and if I had been asked, if someone said, what are the end links on your Amiga Planet Ocean 600 meters, I would have said they were male. But when I got it out, they were female, but they are male on the 6,000 meter variant, which I prefer because there's one less line, but we won't go into that. I mean, you know, it's personal preference. So yeah, I think I'm right. So they're both 22mm lug width. although they taper very differently. I believe it's 22 to 20 on the 600 meter, 22 to 18 on the 6,000 meter, which gives it, I think, a bit of a strange look. I would prefer it if it had a 20 mil. I think I suggested I'd rather it had. I mean, this watch is bigger than that watch, so to me, this should go up to 23 mil from 22, and this should taper to, even if it just tapered to 20, so had a more extreme taper than this one, but ended up at the same place. I think that would be nicer, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, we're looking for the perfect beat, but it doesn't exist. And I think that is all I didn't say yesterday. I mentioned that the Rolex Deep Sea had a diver's extension. This has a diver's extension as well, I believe. No, it doesn't actually. No, this doesn't have a diver's. Yes, it does. It's on that side. It's on that side. Does it just pop out? I'm not going to do it though. I'm pretty sure that's a diver's extension there. It looks like it hinges. That does that. See, I'm never going to use it. But I'm pretty sure that, I'm not going to pull it and break it. I'm pretty sure that it does have a diver's extension there. Let's just have a quick look at this one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they both do have a diver's extension. I have taken this one out, but I'm not gonna do it on either of them. Yeah, so they both have a diver's extension, as does the Rolex Deep Sea version, the 11 series or the 12 series. I think that's really all I wanted to say about these two. I just missed that off yesterday in having, I mentioned the 600 meter quite a bit, but didn't have it with me. And well, I think it's quite nice to see these two together. I mean, I'm lucky enough to get this into the channel. I'm lucky enough to own this. So, you know, a lot of reviewers, I don't know that I would call this a review. I'm just giving you some info, just some friendly watch chat. Oh, another thing I didn't mention yesterday. I'm glad I thought of it. Bizarrely, this has, I'll just finish what I was saying, actually. Yeah, a lot of people review stuff and compare stuff, and they haven't got them. I've got these in my hand. I had the two yesterday in my hand, so they were a real-world, like-for-like comparison of my opinion. I'm stating my opinions. People may not agree, but they are here in my hand, in the flesh, in the steel, in the Omega steel, in the case of the Ultradeep. But yeah, so that thing, other reviewers, they just, they're just, you might agree with their opinions over mine, but I've got them here in front of me. Yeah, something I noticed on this, and I didn't mention yesterday. I don't think I've ever mentioned this to anyone. It has, I haven't worked out why, but it's got a screwed first link. So that's the end link. That's the first link. And it's screwed. So that means it's removable. Now, you'd have to take the bracelet off to unscrew that, because, it's fouling on the lug ends. I've never seen that on a watch before. I've never seen an unscrewable first link. It's got one on both sides. I haven't quite worked out why you would need that. Doesn't have it on the 6,000 meters. I've never seen it on another watch, as I said. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you can think of why you would need that. I've not thought about it too much, but I haven't as yet come up with a reason why you would want to separate the end link as I'm saying this. So you take that off. Maybe the end link doesn't. I don't understand why, because not on a normally, and I'm saying this as I'm thinking it. Normally, when you take the end link out of the watch, it comes apart. The pin is holding that in. Maybe they are on other watches. Maybe they're on all. I'm going to look really silly now, aren't I? Yeah, I think I am. I'm going to have to delete this. It's there because it's a male end link. There's no other way of getting it out. Oh, I can't do the whole video. I've just never noticed that before, apart from on this one. Yeah, it's because it's the only way you can separate it from a male end link. Because on a female end link, it's the spring bar. Well, every day's a school day and all that. yeah, that's obviously why it is. I should have thought about that before I did the video, but I'm no way am I recording 20 minutes of video all again just because I realised something. I'm going to have to find another male end link watch to see if that's the case. But yeah, but it must be, because it's the only way you can separate it from, unless other male end link watches, you cannot separate the end link from the first link. But I've got a Seiko speed timer here, and that's got, they all come out. Look, you could take all of those out. You could have that. You could have a really small wrist and wear that. But yeah, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. I think I covered most things that I missed off yesterday. If you do have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. If you want to moan about anything, do it in the comments below. But yeah, have a great day. As I say, hope you've enjoyed seeing these two. One wrist, live it.